Okay, let's dive in. Today we're getting into uh, a really fascinating bit of ancient text, Nehemiah chapter 2.
Right. We find ourselves dropped right into the Persian royal court.
Yeah, with Nehemiah, who's serving King Artaxerxes. He's got this important job, maybe cupbearer, right there with the king.
Exactly. But something's clearly wrong. He's standing there, but his face, it shows sadness.
Which, in that setting, is pretty risky, isn't it? You're supposed to be, well, composed.
Absolutely. Loyalty and, putting on a good face were key. So this sadness is unusual, enough that the king spots it immediately.
Yeah, the king just looks at him and basically says, "You're not sick, so why the long face? This must be sadness of heart." Gets right to it.
No beating around the bush. And imagine being Nehemiah. The text says he was very much afraid.
I bet. Standing before this, like, all-powerful ruler, one wrong move could be disastrous.
Definitely. But even though he's scared, he answers honestly, doesn't make excuses,
He tells him straight up, it's not about me, it's about Jerusalem, the city where my ancestors are buried.
describing it as lying in ruins.
Yeah.
The gates burned down. It's the devastation back home that's hitting him hard.
And the king's reaction is, well, not what you might expect. He doesn't get angry.
No, instead he asks this really pivotal question, the one that changes everything.
What is it you want? Just like that. Shifting from the problem, the sadness, to a potential solution.
And Nehemiah's response here is incredible. Before he even says a word answering the king,
He prays right there, silently, prayed to the God of heaven.
it's such a powerful moment, isn't it? Shows where his real trust is, even under that immense pressure.
Seeking that divine help before making this, well, enormous request.
And it is enormous. He asked the king to send him to Judah, to Jerusalem,
Specifically so that I can rebuild it. I mean, talk about bold, asking for leave from a top job to go rebuild a city miles away.
a city in a conquered territory, no less.
Yeah.
And the king, he considers it. The queen's there too, the text notes.
Right, so it's all quite formal. He asks practical questions like how long, when will you be back?
It's not just a casual, sure. But in the end, it pleased the king to send him. Nehemiah gives him a time frame.
And Nehemiah puts it down to, the gracious hand of my God was upon me. That's his perspective.
The phrase keeps coming up, doesn't it? He sees God's favor opening these doors.
But he doesn't stop there, does he? Permission is one thing, but he knows he needs practical help.
Oh yeah, he's thinking strategically. He asks for letters, royal letters.
Crucial stuff. What were they for again?
Two main things. First, letters for the governors across the river, the Trans-Euphrates region.
Ah, like official travel papers. Safe passage.
Exactly. To make sure he wouldn't be stopped or hassled on that long journey. Essential for getting there safely and with authority.
Makes sense. And the second letter?
That was for Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest. He needed timber. Lots of it.
For the rebuilding itself, right?
Yes, specifically for the gates of the citadel by the temple, for the main city wall, and even, interestingly, for the house he'd live in.
Wow, he's really thought this through. Securing passage, securing materials. He needed the king's stamp of approval for all of it.
And he gets it. Again, the text emphasizes why.
Yeah.
Because the gracious hand of my God was upon me. The king granted my requests.
He consistently gives the credit beyond his own, planning or persuasion.
It's this blend of deep faith and, frankly, really smart preparation. The prayer and the practical requests go hand in hand.
And there was more support, too, wasn't there? Not just letters.
Right. The king also provided him with army officers and cavalry, an escort.
That's a pretty big deal, not just a lone man traveling with letters.
No, this signals serious royal backing. It gives Nehemiah immediate authority when he arrives and shows everyone this isn't just some personal project. It's got the empire's weight behind it.
So he's got the go-ahead, the paperwork, the materials lined up, and a military escort. He's ready.
He sets off, travels through Trans-Euphrates, delivers those letters to the governors, smoothing the way just like he planned.
But then, trouble starts brewing almost immediately upon arrival in the region, doesn't it?
Yep. We meet Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the Ammonite official. Key local players.
And they are not happy campers.
Not at all. The text says they were very much disturbed that someone had come to promote the welfare of the Israelites.
You can see why, I guess. A rebuilt, strong Jerusalem backed by Persia might mess with their own power or influence in the area.
Absolutely. It represents a shift in the status quo, and they clearly see it as a threat.
So the opposition is there, waiting, even before a single stone is laid. Nehemiah gets to Jerusalem, and then what? Does he announce his plans right away?
No. Interestingly, he waits. He's there for 3 days first.
Just Lying low, resting.
The text doesn't say exactly, but it feels deliberate, doesn't it? Maybe observing, assessing the situation quietly before making his move. It fits his careful style.
And then comes this really strategic part, the nighttime inspection.
Yes. He goes out during the night, takes just a few men with him, and crucially, he says, I had not told anyone what my God had put in my heart to do.
Keeping it totally secret, even from the local Jewish leaders at first. Why do you think?
Well, maybe to avoid leaks to Sanballat and Tobiah, or perhaps to get a first-hand, unbiased look at the damage before rallying people. Avoid getting bogged down in debates before he even has the facts on the ground.
Makes sense. Get your own intel first.
Exactly. And he does a thorough survey, riding out the valley gate, checking the walls near the Jackalwow, the dung gate, really looking at the broken down walls and burned gates.
Seeing the scale of the task for himself.
And there's that little detail about his donkey or whatever mount he was riding not being able to pass through the rubble near the fountain gate.
Yeah, showing just how ruined things were. He had to get down and walk some parts. It wasn't just a quick look-see.
No, it was a real boots on the ground or sandals on the rubble assessment under the cover of darkness.
So he finishes the secret inspection, gets back, and the local officials are still none the wiser about his specific mission.
Right. He's done his homework. He has the king's backing, the resources lined up, and now a clear picture of the challenge.
Now he's ready for the big reveal.
Exactly. He gathers everyone, the priests, nobles, officials, the wider Jewish community, the key players.
And he lays it out for them. He doesn't sugarcoat it.
No, he says, you see the trouble we're in. Jerusalem lies in ruins. Its gates have been burned. He calls it a state of disgrace.
Hits them with the harsh reality, the shame of their situation. But then he pivots.
Immediately, he tells them about the gracious hand of my God upon me,
Yeah.
and crucially, what the king had said to me. He provides the basis for hope.
So it's not just things are bad, it's things are bad. But God is for this, and the most powerful man in the world has given us the green light and resources.
Precisely. He connects the problem, disgrace, with the solution, divine favor and royal support. And then he issues the call to action.
Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace. Simple, direct, powerful.
And the reaction.
Instant buy-in. They replied, let us start rebuilding. So they began this good work. Just like that. He managed to light a fire under them.
It's an amazing moment of leadership, turning despair into determined action. He shared his vision and made it theirs.
But of course, the opposition wasn't just going to roll over. Sanballat, Tobiah, and now a third guy, Geshem the Arab, hear about the work starting.
And they ramp things up.
Yeah.
Mocking, ridicule. That's the first response.
Trying to demoralize them, right. But then they get more serious.
Yeah, they accuse them of treason. What is this you are doing? Are you rebelling against the king? Trying to twist Nehemiah's own source of authority, the king, against him. It's a classic tactic.
So how does Nehemiah handle that? Does he show them his letters again?
Interestingly, no. He doesn't get defensive about the rebellion charge. He just dismisses it and points higher.
What does he say?
He says, the God of heaven will give us success. Full stop. Anchoring it firmly in divine purpose.
And then he draws a very clear line in the sand.
A very clear line. We, his servants, will start rebuilding, but as for you, you have no share in Jerusalem or any claim or historic right to it.
Wow. Basically saying, this isn't your business. You have no standing here. He completely shuts them down.
He does. He delegitimizes their opposition while reaffirming his own mandate, both divine and implicitly royal. It's faith and firmness combined.
So looking back at this whole chapter, it's just, it's packed. From that moment of fear before the king.
To the silent prayer, the bold ask, the meticulous planning for resources and travel.
Then the secret assessment, the powerful speech to rally the people, and finally facing down that initial wave of opposition.
It really lays out a blueprint, doesn't it, for how someone might tackle a huge, daunting project. It involves faith, strategy, communication, community building, resilience.
All of it working together. It's quite a story.
Definitely. A compelling example of leadership in action.
So reflecting on this deep dive into Nehemiah 2, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? When you think about launching something significant, something challenging, what's the most crucial element? Is it that sense of divine backing Nehemiah felt? Is it the careful strategic planning and getting all your ducks in a row? Or is it that ability to bring people together to rally the community around a common goal? Something for you to think about.